Hey everybody, my name's Andy and you're watching the Opinionated Reefer YouTube channel. Today we're going to cover the 4-month update on the SPS dominated Nano tank. We've got quite a lot to cover in this episode, so let's get into it. The first thing I want to cover in this episode is flatworms. So if you have a look at this rock here, you can see a lot of little sort of brown speckles on the sand and over the rockwork. Those are red flatworms or red plananaria or however you say it. But they're common flatworms. So I reckon I got these from that piece of live rock that I added to the tank a few weeks ago. Now these flatworms aren't really a major issue unless they get out of control. At this point when this video was taken, I decided to deal with it via Flatworm Exit. Flatworm Exit is the go-to product for dealing with red flatworms. It's not technically available in the UK, but it's easily available over eBay, so that's what I did. So at this point you can see me dosing the first dose of Flatworm Exit. So this is about 15 to 20 minutes after the initial dose, and as you can see all the little flatworms have started moving. That's what this does. It causes the flatworms to basically think they're starving to death and they start moving around looking for food, and eventually it paralyses them and they die basically. But currently you can see it's having an effect. They're all rushing around in a panic. Usually it takes around 45 minutes to an hour to fully work. So if we fast forward another few minutes, you can see most of the worms are dead now, or on the verge of dead. So what you have to do at this point is siphon out as many of the dead worms as possible and do a fairly large water change and run some carbon, because as the worms die they release a toxin into the water that can harm your fish and other livestock. Although the volume of worms I had probably wasn't high enough to actually be any risk to the fish. So what actually happened was the worms came back about 2 weeks later, and that's what we're looking at now, except it seems to be a sort of white flatworm rather than a red or brown flatworm. So what I did was I ended up having to dose Flatworm Exit another 2 times, basically a week apart, to try and eradicate them, and as far as I can tell it has worked after 3 doses. Plus I made the dose maybe twice as strong as it should have been to try and make sure that basically it wiped them out. So now we get to the part of the video you probably came here to see, some new high-end frags. So this one is Cherry Blossom Acropora, a real stunning specimen. I've never seen an Acropora quite as red as this. Bright red with a green base. Cannot wait to see what this is like when it grows out. This next one was sold to me as Golden Nugget Acropora because under certain LEDs it looked bright yellow, but under my lights it seems green, or it looks more green to me, but it still looks like a stunning piece. So if you've any idea what this actually is, let me know in the comments. Next up we have the famous PC Rainbow. This looks like another stunning specimen. I've heard that this is a slightly lower light Acropora, so I'll place this lower down in the tank. I don't have an official name for this one, but I believe it's very similar to a strawberry shortcake, just with a different coloration. This next one is supposed to be a Bali shortcake, but we'll see what it's like when it fully colours up. And last but not least, we have the Cali Tort. I'm not sure if this is an official Cali Tort, but the coloration is certainly very similar. It could even be a Miyagi Tort. If we look at the smaller frag of it here, you can see the coloration is a lot more green, which resembles a Miyagi Tort. You might have noticed that there's another new addition to the tank. I've added a yellow banded Possum Wrasse. Now this is a lovely little fish, very very shy and reclusive, as you can probably see here. Other than that, the tank is actually doing really well. It is maturing well, and a lot of the SPS are actually starting to base out and show decent coloration, just like this lovely rainbow Montipora I've got here. I was also given a couple of new Aiken frags that weren't doing so well in a fellow reefer's tank, so if they recover and thrive in my tank, I'll then give him some frags back. We can see this green staghorn here has really started to base out in the last few weeks, which is a really good sign as far as I'm concerned. One final thing I wanted to cover in this video was I upgraded to a pair of MP10s. Now I got a good deal on these, and I knew from experience that the J-Bow pumps that I was using just weren't going to cut it if this was going to be an SPS dominated tank. They'd have worked fine in the short term, but long term I know, based on my previous experience with the MP40s and the Reefer 350, that these pumps are ideal for SPS, so I just went for it. I think the Vortech pumps are among the best power heads you can get. They're only running at 25%, and you could see how much detritus was being kicked up and the way the fish were getting blown around. There's just no comparison with the pumps I had before, and it looks a lot neater with both pumps just being aligned on the back glass rather than having wires and such in the tank. Well guys, that concludes the 4-month update, so I'm really happy with the progress so far. I think what comes next is I'm going to start moving some of these high-end frags into their final position on the rockwork. I'm going to take special care to mount the frags in a way that when they grow out, the colours are going to complement each other. I think this Nano really has the potential to be something special, but it's going to take a while, so hope you found this update interesting guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.